People here, especially on such a warm night. The MLive and Muskegon Chronicle have partnered with Muskegon Community College to bring you the Muskegon County Sheriff's candidate debate. We have kind of an unusual situation with the sheriff's candidates. There will be 3 names in the Democratic primary and no other names. Then when you get to the general election, there will be the winner of the Democratic primary, and there's one other candidate right now who's not affiliated with a party. So we invited, and that happens to be Ronald D. Grassmeyer. So we invited Mr. Grassmeyer to come tonight, and we're going to give him 2 minutes, the same as the other candidates have, to introduce himself and talk about his platform. And then he's going to step down. He will not be a part of the debate because he's not on this primary ballot. We're sorry if that's confusing, but we thought maybe that was the fairest way to handle things tonight. Mr. Grassmeyer was planning to stay, so if you have questions after the debate, I'm sure any of the candidates would be glad to respond. The questions tonight have been developed by the Chronicle staff, and with the help of readers, we asked them to respond to a couple of posts that were on that was on our website, MLive. And so you will, and we indicate when we ask the questions, so you'll know when there's a reader question being asked as well. Before we start, if everybody could take a minute and please turn off your cell phones, that would be great. And are we ready? Okay. So I'm going to lay this mic down. We'll have Mr. Grassmeyer start, and then we'll move on to the other candidates.
You guys hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, as she said, my name is Ronald D. Grassmeyer. I want to start by just thanking them for allowing me an opportunity to come here and speak with you guys and be somewhat part of this debate. I want to give some of my brief history, and hopefully the rest of it we can get you to check out the internet, and hopefully I can talk to you guys afterwards if you have other questions. But I have a wife. I've been married for several years now. I'd say 2004 we got married. We've got 4 children now, and we have 1 on the way. And what brings me to this point is I really think that the sheriff's position should be independent or a nonpartisan association. I know that what I've gone through in the past has given me the opportunity or the skills to come forward, where I served as a Marine. I've walked on this soil and foreign soil, done tours obviously on both, and I've also been a sheriff's deputy. I worked at the Faulkner County Sheriff's Office, which is actually in Virginia. Graduated from the academy, and I have a degree in criminal justice too. With those roads and the things I've traveled, I think that it has allowed me the opportunity to gain the knowledge, the respect for others, etc. I mean, just in growth, your experience allows you the opportunity to look at things different than when you were younger. I do have a big family, so that's probably one of the biggest things that drive me for this. Is I never leave anything on the table. If I think that there's something I should do, and I truly believe this is where my passion is at, that I should move forward and at least try, because I want everyone to know that you have to try. And it's important for me to acknowledge that the sheriff is about enforcing law, not making it. So with that said, I would hope that you could put me in a position to lead you, because I've been trained in leadership as a Marine. So I'm out of time, but I appreciate it. If you have questions, just let me know afterwards. Thanks.
Next, we'll start with John Jorges.
Hello, everyone this evening. My name is John Jorges. A little bit about myself. I'm a white resident of Muskegon County. I grew up in a law enforcement family in Muskegon, a Democratic law enforcement family. I graduated from Muskegon County Central High School in 1978. In Muskegon, I attended Muskegon Community College for criminal justice and graduated from Muskegon Business College in 1982 with a business degree in accounting. In 1984, I graduated from Grand Valley State Police Academy, certified as a police officer. In 1984, I was hired by Orville Smith out here from Whitehall Police Department. It was my first job in law enforcement. Shortly thereafter, I was hired by Northern Shores in 1986 to the Muskegon County Sheriff Department, where I worked as a deputy for 23 years. I had the experience of working in the jail, the courts, and the road patrol. Unlike the rest of the candidates up there, I'm the only one with that experience. I was Teamster Local 214 Union Steward for over 15 years for the Sheriff's Deputy Unit. I'm married to Cindy Worsham-Jerkis, and we have 3 children, John, Taylor, and Madison. We own 2 businesses in town, Realistic Photography and Show Digital Lab. I've always worked 2 jobs. As I was going to school, I was also working at Brunswick Corporation and New Way Equipment at the same time. My reasons for running is I believe Muskegon County Sheriff Department, the citizens of Muskegon, we need integrity back in the department. I believe the Sheriff Department should work with all local municipalities. Currently, I know there's been bridges broken throughout the community with some of the townships. For example, Fruitport and Charter Township. I was asked to mention them tonight. They were cut off from some seatbelt grants, and they're not very happy out there. As for when I become sheriff, I will bend the bridges, and I'll work with all the local committees, municipalities. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Dean Hostler, and I'm currently incumbent sheriff. The sheriff's office has many functions: administration, corrections, enforcement, just to name a few. As your sheriff, I have adopted an overriding priority for the agency. The safety of our families, neighborhoods, and communities here in Muskegon County is my #1 priority. In the past few years, the sheriff's office has faced severe budget reductions due to the downturn in the economy. While enacting these budget reductions, I have preserved the primary public safety function of the agency. Not one road patrol or corrections officer was laid off. Our ability to patrol and provide mutual assistance to the locals and the state police agencies remains intact. The security of the jail and safety of all persons in the jail has not been compromised. Threats to public safety are always changing in the face of budget cuts. We have even expanded our response to public safety threats. Weekend night patrols in high crime urban areas of the county were instituted, and a new Project Lifesaver program to locate seniors with Alzheimer's and individuals who may wander from home have put in place, just to name a few. In the coming years, I aim to put deputies back in our schools. The road patrol and jail staffing must be maintained. I will work with other agencies to institute veteran and drug courts and complete the jail to community reentry program in order to improve the safety of our neighborhoods. Public safety, the safety of our families, neighborhoods, and communities will continue as my #1 priority. To accomplish this, I need your support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joel Dovis. I'm running for the office of Muskegon County Sheriff because as a business owner and resident, I see a lack of leadership and accountability, and I want to be part of the solution. I feel a strong moral calling to make Muskegon County a safe and secure community for all people to enjoy. I'm a results-driven law enforcement administrator with multifaceted policing experience, with 24 years in law enforcement and 16 as a chief of police. Most juvenile crime is committed between 2 and 8 p.m., with the crime rate tripling in the hour after school is out. Therefore, I will implement the Muskegon Moves initiative. This is an after-schools program to provide a safe environment where youth can engage in fun and constructive activities. This must be addressed in an aggressive manner because capturing the attention of our youth will therefore lower the overall crime rate for the future. Also concerning our business community, Muskegon County Sheriff's Department will help in creating an environment that produces a safe and secure community where businesses can thrive and new businesses can find an attractive environment to relocate to or start anew. Implementing a business check card program to provide to the business community will reduce crime and give the business community not only a feeling of security, but give them a sense of security, but make that feeling a reality when I was the chief of police in Milwaukee. Introducing such a program in Muskegon County would have the same results. And for the record, these are not just merely talking points. I have accomplished many of these goals serving as chief of police spanning 16 years. A strong law enforcement community serves the people and is accountable to the people, which produces a safe and secure community. Thank you.
Now we're going to start the question portion of this program, and I'd like you to hold your applause to the end. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to start with Mr.
We want to start off by asking you to dream big. If you had unlimited resources, what one thing would you tackle in the sheriff's office?
Unlimited resources?
Unlimited.
Well, first I'd build a new jail, 500 bed jail along with a juvenile facility, have a staff adequately, I'd increase the road patrol. We should be running at least 10 to 12 cars per shift. Have every township assign a deputy for that township. Increase the command staff to cover that area. The security at the front door probably go to full-time instead of having the part-time people there. More boats on in the summer for the Marine Patrol. You got a nice wish list going here. But in reality, we don't have all that. We have to deal with our budget.
Well, I agree with everything Mr. Turkey has said, but if we're looking at one big ticket item with unlimited resources, it would definitely be dealing with the current jail and juvenile transition center.
I have a different vision. I pour it all into reducing crime, starting with our kids. Reduce the crime. You don't need that big of a jail. The residents of Muskegon County, they don't want these taxes to go up with the new jail. You gotta focus on reducing the crime. And where do you start? With our youth.
First of all, any comments? Anybody have any comments or any responses to? Okay. I know that you just mentioned this, but I want to go back to this because this is a subject that the readers, our readers, have expressed great interest in. I want to go back to the proposition of a new county jail. And actually, this is a three-part question, so if you can just kind of bear with me, that would be great. Do you believe Muskegon County needs a new jail? What is the most efficient solution to jail problems, current jail problems? And what specifically would you like to see in a new facility, and how would you fund it? And if we could start with you, Mr. Russell.
Okay, well, first part of that question is very simple. Yes, I do believe Muskegon County needs a new jail. The current one was built in 1958. I think it opened with the first inmates early 60s, 61. And a lot has changed since then. But in terms of the physical structure of the facility, but a lot has changed in terms of the population of inmates, the types of inmates, the number of inmates that we're dealing with. There's mental health, medical health, females, just other special needs inmates. So yes, we do need a new jail. I think just a couple quick notes. Could you repeat the?
Yes. What is the most efficient solution to current?
Well, the most efficient solution, we actually in the process of working with a consultant to try and guide us through that process to come up with the most efficient, most effective solution. My vision is and we don't want to leave the juvenile transition center component out of this conversation. Having a facility that is large enough and designed in such a way that we can do the best practice programs that I think we should have in place, deal with the special needs populations, the medical issues, mental health issues, a facility that the staff feels secure in and is a good environment for them to work in. Those are some of the solutions that I would look for.
And the third part of that question, you may have already addressed it, and that's okay. But what specifically would you like to see in a new facility, and how would you fund it?
Funding, I believe, can be done through a bond, public bond. I think with a new facility and a modern design, if you will, the use of technology that's out there would make some efficiencies and reduce costs in some of the operational areas by modernizing the facility. And again, just big enough to deal with the inmate population that we're dealing with and have the programming space and the special needs space that is non-existent right now.
Mr. Jones?
As I see it, we have three options. One is we can build a new jail. This will entail a bond or a millage issue, and that's not an attractive issue for the residents of Muskegon County. Secondly, we can relocate to an existing building, which will have to be renovated. Again, needing a millage or bond financing, this is not a good prospect to succeed. Third, stay in the present location. This will be less expensive in the short term, but overall more costly in the long term. All three of these proposals have a legal and moral consideration attached to it. These are not easy choices, but after getting all the facts from all the committees, I will make a concise decision that best benefits the county and its citizens. But ultimately, my vision is to lower the occupancy population through reduction of crime, providing services to keep the first-time offender out of the system, with repeat offenders giving them enhanced services to keep them out of the system. But keeping in mind and going full circle, it comes right back to my vision. We start with the Muskegon Moves initiative with our youth. These are our next leaders in this community.
Yes, I guess the other question is, how would you, if a new jail is called for, how would you?
There's only two issues there, a
Yeah.
bond or a millage.
Yeah.
And you're going to tax these people. With a reduction of crime, attacking that in an aggressive manner. Starting the Muskegon Moves initiative. You've got to lower that crime rate. We don't need all these jail cells.
Thank you.
I agree, we do need a new jail. We need a new jail, I recommend it be about 500 beds. I suggest we build it on the north side of Walton Avenue, where the current jail is located. They had plans drawn up years ago to tie it into the second floor of the county building. It was the master plan, and now they moved the courts up to the second floor, so I have to believe it's still part of the master plan. You need to put the juvenile facility there. You need to have it separated so you can have there's people with mental health issues that are in the jail, the medical issues are in the jail. There's absolutely no question about it. All right. So we need to build it, but we need to build it fiscally responsible. The taxpayers of Muskegon County currently pay their property taxes, and we have the jail is a mandated service. So the funds that the taxpayers pay should be used for the mandated services. The services that are not mandated services, those are the services they should go to the people and ask for a millage for. So in reality, the people may have to pay more taxes, but if they choose to keep the services that are not mandated. That's my opinion on that. And what was the third part of that question?
Well, actually, we kind of did.
Okay.
That was how would you fund it? And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how I represent it.
All right. Did anybody have any responses?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What is the cost of this new jail?
I believe it's a minimum of $30 million, but it's a minimum. I haven't seen the.
And you're going to tax these people for a $30 million facility?
No, they've already paid your property tax for, it's a mandated service.
Then why hasn't it already been built? This is the debate.
All right, anyone else want to respond to those comments? Okay, we'll go on to the next question, which is a follow-up. And we start with Mr. Montgomery.
Okay. Yeah, this follow-up it's also on a new jail, and it's, how will you, and you're kind of getting into that now, but how will you sell a new jail in Muskegon County voters?
Well, as I said, there is a committee that has been established, there is a consulting group that has been hired. Part of that whole process is an educational piece, an opportunity to get all the nitty-gritty details out there to the community. That will be coming up actually in another month. They're going to have that session. There'll be an open invite to anybody in the community. There has been ongoing efforts to educate the community about the need. A lot of us from the jail currently, or the sheriff's office currently, go out to speak to different groups. We sit at different meetings, community corrections meetings, all kinds of different organizations that touch the jail, that have operational concerns about the jail. So that process is underway. It's, we invited the media with the media in to take a look at what our concerns are. And so I don't think it's anything that has to be started. It's something that's already underway.
Mr. Jonas, I'm not sure if this question applies to you. How will you sell your vision, I guess, is what I would ask.
I won't sell a vision of building a new facility, not at this point in time, not with this county the way it is. My vision is to reduce crime, use the existing facility. This has been an ongoing selling point, if you want to call it that, from Muskegon County for quite some time. And no progress has went forward. And for a $30 million facility, that's a pretty taxing. Think about it. That's a pretty taxing facility. And at some point, yes, it has to be addressed. But we keep kicking the can down the road. And but not right now. Not this time.
Anybody that's ever been a tour of Muskegon County Jail knows what the conditions are in that jail.
Yeah, how
There's a
many
smell
years
in that
it
jail
is.
when you walk in the door, you don't forget it.
Right.
You don't smell it anywhere else. But if you work in the jail, as a jail guard, you have the opportunity to have your lunch in the basement with sewer flies. And let me tell you something, the public needs to go and see it. That is the conditions of that jail. There's sewer gas in the jail. There's, in this heat this summer, it's in the 90s. What is it, 95 in the blocks? There's no ventilation. So that building is outdated, it's served its purpose. To give you a quick summary, 20 years ago, the U.S. Marshal came to the County Board of Commissioners and offered federal money to help build the jail. The only part they requested was that they have beds available for federal prisoners. And the County Board of Commissioners, the sheriffs at the time, told them, we don't want the federal government involved in our jail.
Any responses to any, or any comments on any responses?
Can I ask a question of one of the candidates? Or no?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right, our next question.
Readers have also have expressed concerns about the number of mentally ill people ending up in the county jail. How should these inmates be handled?
They should be evaluated before they even go to the jail. That's the responsibility of the arresting officer in that department. If there's an issue, that they be evaluated before they go to that facility. And through mental health services or through local hospitals, they have to be evaluated.
And stay there forever.
Mr. Church? Unfortunately, the state's cut the funding for the mental health people in the state of Michigan. And so the jail's kind of like a dumping ground for them. And to keep the public safe, they have no choice but to take them into the jail. If we had a new jail with facilities designed specifically to handle this type of problem, we'd be better off. But as it stands now, we can't, the sheriff department cannot turn away an arrest. Even though they may be mentally ill, but yes, they need help. They can invite the services in, but there's no place to take them because the state cut the funding. So we'll rest back with the legislators in Lansing for the mental health issues, part of it.
Mr. Ross?
Well, we have an evaluation piece in the jail. My command staff has full power authority to refuse to accept someone that they may need a mental evaluation, and the rest of the agency then is requested to take them for such. We also have a very healthy diversion program within the mental health diversion that is currently operating. Historically, if you go back to 2007, we had 47 diversions. Since I came into office in 2008, we are now in triple digits. As of this month, as of today, I pulled the numbers, we're at 168 so far this year, and we're on track to probably get close to 200 by the end of the year. So there is a healthy process in place that is dealing with that. Absolutely, it is a dumping ground because of different policies at the state that have failed. So we are left to deal with it. But we are dealing with it, but there's more that can be done. In a newer, modern, or up-to-date facility would accomplish a lot of that.
Do a follow-up to that one too, Mr. Dobis. You support specialty courts such as the sobriety and mental health courts we have in Muskegon County, and would you like to see them expanded to include a veterans and a drug court?
Absolutely, on all accounts. Getting back to this, the sheriff does have the right to refuse to take a mentally impaired inmate. He has to be evaluated. The liability factor is through the roof. If you take a person like that and incarcerate them, there has to be a facility. That must be, if it's not implemented already, it needs to be tomorrow. Go ahead, Eric. Is there a follow-up?
No, that wasn't follow-up.
Mr. Chairman, as for the mentally ill people coming to jail, when you have a capital crime committed such as rape or murder, you can't let them out. You just can't let them out. It's for the public safety. If they're mentally ill, I'm sorry, but you can't let them out. There's no place to take them, they stay. It's just the way it is, and we need facilities built to handle that type of person.
Mr. Rassin.
As far as the sobriety court, drug court, veterans court, I'm an absolute supporter of that. My administration has been heavily involved in the current sobriety court that's operating in Muskegon County. I said in my opening statement that I will work with all agencies involved to establish a veterans and drug court. The mental health worker that we have working with us through community mental health has actually taken it upon herself to start working towards a mental health court. So those specialty courts, I think, have shown results. I think the ones that we don't have in place will show results when we get them in place. I'm 100% absolutely in favor of it.
Does anyone want to respond to anything you said?
Yeah, I have one follow-up. If anyone in here has a mentally impaired loved one, would you want them dumped in a county jail before being evaluated? Just ask yourself that.
Next question, about the nail policy of the jail, and Mr. Joseph, we'll start with you. What is your stand on the nail policy of the jail currently in Nation?
Well, the current policy is postcards only. I don't understand why that program was introduced. When I worked in the jail for years, we opened every bit of mail, we went through it, took all the stamps off it, took any contraband off it. And if we couldn't get it done on one shift, we'd go to the next shift, and the night shift officer would do it. So if it's just the fact they're saying that they don't have the manpower to open the mail, I don't buy that. If that's the reason, then I'd bring the letters back. But if there's more to it, which I'm not aware of, I'd have to take a look at that.
Well, I as a policy certainly in favor of it. Given the current conditions of the jail and the current stresses on the staff and the other demands that they have to meet on a daily basis, we have seen a reduction in contraband coming in. We have seen a dramatic decrease in anything from pornographic pictures to trying to be mailed in. I did alter the policy to allow inmates to send letters out. One of the staff members actually commented the other day that what they're noticing during cell inspections and cell moves is there's a lot less clutter, that that the postcards are actually much easier to organize in the inmates' personal spaces. They stack better, they keep better. And when we reduce the clutter in the jail, and reduce that type of paper amount, then you're also reducing the potential fire load. Concern about a fire facility is huge. Anytime you can reduce fire load, that's a plus. So that's kind of a side benefit that we're realizing.
These are still human beings that are incarcerated, and they need contact with family members, loved ones. So we need letters coming in, not just a postcard, but a letter after going through it, reviewing it, making sure there's no contraband. It should be given to the inmate. It's going to reduce that tension. It's going to reduce that level of stress on them. They need that contact.
Any further comments? I think we just want to start.
Now we have a series of questions that are tailored to each individual candidate. So as I read this first one is for Mr. Rossler. You were caught up in the prosecutor's office action over accepting gifts. Even though you did not take the trip, a member of your department did at your suggestion. What is the sheriff's responsibility for maintaining the integrity of the office?
Well, the sheriff has the absolute responsibility of maintaining integrity of the office. The power of the office, the influence office should never be used for personal gain. I think there's a little bit of confusion over that whole event. That whole incident was reviewed not only by the prosecutor, it was sent to the Attorney General's office for outside review at the request of both myself and the county prosecutor. And there's been no wrongdoing found.
This next question is for you, Mr. Jones.
Okay.
You retired from the Sheriff's Department as a full-time deputy to pursue business opportunities, which you mentioned earlier. Why are you interested in returning to the department?
I miss public service, and I really think that the community deserves to get integrity back in the office. Contrary to what Dean just said, that the Attorney General, as far as I know, I was talking to the prosecutor the other day, they are still looking into the matter as to the integrity issue. But I think everybody in this community deserves a fair shake. Its citizens deserve better. I miss public service. I'm ready to come back.
All right, for you, Mr. Dobis. This is the second time you have run for sheriff, although the first time in Muskegon County. You previously served as a police chief. What is the attraction of the sheriff's department, and what can you bring to the office?
My vision, leadership, accountability to the people. I served 16 years as the chief of police, implemented many programs, and I'm not done, not yet. I did leave law enforcement at a very young age, ventured into the business arena, and found that I'm not done. I got too much to offer yet, and it starts with our youth. I've seen it, experienced it, done it. It's not about building jails, throwing people in jail, writing tickets. Everybody needs a second chance. Everybody needs a break. Not given hundreds of them through my career. But it comes right back to our next generation of leaders, our youth.
Before we go on to our next question, any comments or any responses to the comments?
I'd like to make one on the integrity of the office. Under no circumstances should a sheriff of any county in Michigan accept any gifts, airfare, lodging, golf trips from any vendor of the county. There's actually a state law that states that. And you're not allowed to take any monetary gifts from
And the sheriff did not.
Pardon me?
And the sheriff did not.
Pardon me?
The sheriff did not accept any gifts, right?
I didn't say that, you did.
I'll say it. If I had done that with the history of this current prosecutor, that's one of the things I respect about this current prosecutor. He's not unwilling to take on any public official. He's done it. There's been other elected officials officials that he's prosecuted, there's been other public officials that he's prosecuted, and there's no doubt in my mind that if there was a crime that I committed, he would have prosecuted me. And contrary to what Mr. Turkis said earlier, I had a personal conversation with the Attorney General himself, and this issue was over.
Yes.
As far as integrity of the office, this involves an adherence to a code of morals and values, which in turn makes me a very attractive candidate. Because I hold no allegiance to no one. I hold no allegiance to no one. No special interest group, no individual. I come in clean.
Our next question involves the question of cooperation, consolidation, or collaboration between communities. That's something that's constantly being debated here in Muskegon County. And I guess I would like to know, would you support consolidation of all local law enforcement units? And I'd like to start with you.
Well, I would certainly support that the discussion start, that we looked at, to stand up there and say, yeah, we should do it, because consolidation isn't always the answer. You don't always get the efficiencies or the perceived savings you're going to get with consolidation. So I would certainly support that, a serious discussion, and then go from there, see where the discussion leads.
No, I'd stay right away from that. As a matter of fact, I don't even like the word consolidation. I prefer shared services or collaborative services. This provides an attractive and effective solution among stressed law enforcement agencies. Services such as records management, traffic enforcement, parks and recreation duties, this can all be enhanced by everybody sharing. So I don't like the word consolidation.
I don't like the word consolidation either. Now, for right now, I'd like to see some cooperation with some law enforcement agencies in Muskegon County. What I'd like to see happen, for example, have a central detective bureau. The detectives all work together. They have one office together. It'd be great. Communication would be easier for them. And have an assistant prosecutor assigned just to the detective, that detective review. I'd also like to see another local drug unit started up with another assistant prosecutor assigned to it. I think Muskegon County's got a major drug problem. The drugs are in the schools, and kids, we need a local drug unit. I've spoke with different groups around the county, and parents' biggest thing is they're concerned about drugs in their schools. As for patrol units, I think the community needs to set up mutual aid agreements, kind of like the fire department has, so they don't have to ask permission or be requested to cross jurisdictional lines in case of an emergency, worry about liability issues. So that's what I think needs to be done.
Any comments or amendments? Yes.
That mutual aid agreement does exist. All law enforcement leaders, except one, signed on to it. One law enforcement leader had some issues with some of the language and decided not to sign it, signed on to it.
With our consolidation, I know that word causes at least two of us a problem with our consolidation. What value do you see in partnering with other law enforcement agencies in the county, and how specifically do you do that?
And I only have 2 minutes. We partner on a daily basis with the other agencies, including the local agencies, the state police, the federal agencies that come in. We have a shared emergency response team made up of North Shore Police and Fire, Muskegon County Sheriff, and other agencies are in the process looking into becoming part of that. We have we do grant work. We're grant managers for some traffic safety grants, and a couple of agencies requested to be taken off that strategic plan. The state of Michigan is the final author of that plan, and based on some hours that weren't used by, and Mr. Church brought up Newport Township, the issue of Newport Township not being involved in the grant, is they were given 146 hours. Last grant year, they only were able to fill 42, and the grants are based on high collision accident locations, and they didn't have that many in their jurisdiction, and so the strategic plan had to be altered at the request of the state.
As stated before, with shared services, go into the alcohol enforcement, drugs, especially records management. It's important that all departments and agencies have some type of central records management. Traffic enforcement, if there's an area prone to accidents, multi-agencies can utilize enforcement in that area to reduce those accidents. So it comes right down to shared services. And there's a lot of areas that you can share those services to give the community more safety and security.
I'm all for shared services, as Shaw said the other day. I'm all for shared grant money locally to all municipalities equally, to all Muskegon County. City of Norton Shores, for example, was cut out of a radio grant. I believe it cost the Norton Shores residents about $38,000. It was administered through the county. And the other municipalities, they rely on larger governmental agencies to help them out. I don't know why that took place the way it is, but I'm all for any cooperation with all municipalities. I think it'd be great if they could get together and buy all the same equipment so everybody can exchange back and forth. Just one thing about police officers and police departments, they're very territorial. So it's hard to even think about consolidation at this point.
I do have a response. This county does have a shared record system. In fact, we have a shared central dispatch system. It was a leader in the nation back in the 70s when we went to shared central dispatch. And through that, we have shared road patrol records, jail records, and so those things are all in place. They do exist.
Some of our readers think the county needs more sheriff's deputies involved in road patrol. Some think we need less. What do you think?
The more, the better in the areas that need it. If you have a high crime rate area, stress traffic area, in the unincorporated areas, then more deputies are needed in that area to take care of the issues. In municipalities that have police departments, again, we come back to shared services, where we take less deputies to cooperate in efforts such as that. But in the unincorporated areas, yes, more deputies, more visibility on the road, it reduces crime.
Mr. Churches?
I answered that same question earlier. I do believe we need more road patrol. Majority of the Muskegon County population now is living in the townships and villages outside the core cities. So yeah, I do believe we need more law enforcement. If we have cooperation amongst other agencies, that would really help out also.
Mr. Rossi?
Yeah, I would certainly love to have more cars on the road. We police about 52,000 people population. Geographically, it's a very spread out population. It's not close cluster like say the city of Muskegon with about 42,000, 44,000 people. We do have great cooperation from the outlying agencies for mutual aid. They will respond to anything we ask, and we'll respond to anything they ask. That has been in existence long before I came to the sheriff's office. Additional road patrol will accomplish several things. High visibility is a crime reducer. It will help policing call for service in a timely manner. It will help with response to emergencies such as serious engine crashes. And that was always one of my concerns in the budget cuts. We're starting to come down the pipe was how do I wasn't worried about increasing, I was worried about maintaining. And we've been able to do that. Not one road patrol position has been lost.
on the gun board that is aware that it's on the gun board. How do you think that law has been working, and how do you feel about the open carry issue? And Mr. Jervis would like to begin with you.
As long as people are trained to carry the weapon, and they're in complete control of the weapon, and they're mentally stable to carry a weapon, I'm all for it. That's what makes this country the way it is today. We're one of the greatest nations in the world, but we are the greatest nation in the world. And people, it's part of the freedom of this country, the right to bear arms. But on the safety issue, you have to be in control of it, know how to use it. So I'm all for it. Open carry.
Just to follow up on that, how do you stay in control of that? How do you do
You can, no, not the government control, the person with the weapon have control of their weapon and have the knowledge to use it. That's the control I'm talking about.
I have no issue with the open carry law. It's the law, and there's people that we deal with abide by the law. The sheriff does have a seat at the gun board. The current structure is going to change real soon, where the sheriff is going to be the final arbitrator. The gun board is going away. I have some concerns about that setup, because then that comes with some additional liability for the sheriff's office in the county, and the county clerk is going to play a big part in that. So I got some concerns about that, but I think the current process works well. My representative that represents me on the gun board is a very intelligent individual, very level-headed, my detective lieutenant. He makes good, solid decisions on issuance or potential denials. And so I think the process works well. I do have some concerns about the proposed changes.
Constitutionally, we have that right, and after meeting guidelines that are set forth for safety and training to carry those firearms, everybody has that right. And once that right is given to them, as it is, and after the training, it's up to that individual, that responsibility is up to that individual, not for us to govern that as a law enforcement agency, unless that weapon is used in a crime.
any comments?
All right, and this one starts with you, Mr. Rossler. Quite simply, what distinguishes you from your opponents?
I have experience as a sheriff. I have a background in public service. I've been a public servant for 29 years. As a firefighter, a paramedic, a police officer. I have supervisory experience as a field supervisor when I was a full-time paramedic. I've been a sergeant, I've been a detective sergeant, I've been a lieutenant, I've been an acting captain, I've been another sheriff, and I'm currently the sheriff. I hold a 4-year college degree in criminal justice. I have a number of schoolings from Northwestern University Staff Training School, Law Enforcement Executive Leadership Institute, National Sheriff's Institute, Michigan Sheriff's School. So I have a lot of training and education in that field, and I have the experience, I have the practical experience, and I'm the only licensed police officer currently in this race.
All right,
Mr. Gomes?
I can sit here and I too. What it is, it's my vision, right? 24-year law enforcement officer, 16 as the chief of police. I too attended Regional Police Academy. I too held a MCO's license to be a state certified police officer in the state of Michigan. It's my vision that distinguishes me from my opponents. I'm sure they're fine gentlemen, and I appreciate standing here with fellow law enforcement officers. They've given a service to their community. I just have a different direction I want to take this county.
I also have MPOs, I also did train to be a police officer. Part of this has to spot completely is I have the experience of working in the courts, the jail, and the road patrol. Neither one of these guys have had the experience of working in the sheriff's department in those capacities. You need to have a little experience before you go try to be the boss. You talk to the people that work there, if you know anybody, ask them, they'll tell you.
Any responses?
Yes, I do. speaking of being the boss, you gotta have some leadership capabilities and qualities and have the experience in that area. A leader is defined by his vision, where he takes people, where he takes a county in this instance. It's my vision that will propel this county into a new direction. You already know what you got.
Now we're down to the end of the debate. The final question will come from you, and we're going to start with Mr. Dovis. You have an opportunity to ask a question of one of your opponents.
Okay. For Sheriff Rossler, do you have a full-time grant writer for the Sheriff's Department? And if so, what grants has your grant writer applied for? And what grants has he received in your 4-year tenure as the Sheriff in Muskegon County?
A full-time grant writer specific for the sheriff's office, no. We have people who do grant writing for the sheriff's office. We have received traffic service grants, homeland security grants, youth alcohol enforcement grants, grants for new equipment. In the 4 years that I've been there, I would say we've granted well over $1 million in grant funding.
All right, Mr. Turkis, do you have a question for one of your opponents?
Mr. for Dean Rossler. As you know, my brother was a sheriff before you. And there's a state law that says a sheriff cannot accept anything from a bondsman and give a bondsman any special privileges whatsoever. You've been down to Florida to visit my brother with a certain bondsman in town on several occasions, which, if you read the law, it's pretty specific. Part of this law also states that a sheriff can give a bondsman no special privileges in his jail. Now, if you go to Google and do a Google search of it, on the Run Network, it will pop up a bondsman's TV network. And in that page, you click on the jail. You click on that icon of jail, it's going to come up with a video of Sheriff Rosser doing a video for advertising with the bondsman when he's smoking his cigar in the background. And if you read this law, it's 750.167B, and make your own determination. My question to Dean is, what makes you think that the law does not apply to you?
Because I'm not violating law. It's been looked at by attorneys, it's been looked at by the prosecutor, it's been looked at by the media. There is no violation.
I beg to differ with you. I read the law. I talked to the local prosecutor, and he told me it's still under investigation by the Attorney General. I talked to him like a week ago.
Well, you're getting a different story than I'm getting at.
And Sheriff Rossler, it's your turn. Do you have a question for one of your opponents?
I do, for Mr. Jerkus. During your career as sheriff's deputy, you never had any type of supervisory or command experience within the organization, and you never managed a large budget. How will you provide public safety to the people of Muskegon County?
First of all, I was a union steward for 15 years. When my brother became the sheriff, I called the union meeting, and I told the members of the union, the deputy union, I would step down as the union steward. They voted, they insisted that I stay on. And which I did, I stayed on for a couple more years. Because I told them I was going to be around long, you need to get someone else in there. I run 2 businesses. We have a staff that works for us. Running 2 businesses and working full-time is a chore. We may not have a $13 million budget, but the problems you run in a business are a lot like what you run into governmental. You have staffing issues, you have the budgetary issues. That's why I think I'm qualified for this position.
That concludes our presentation tonight. Thank you very much for coming, and I'd like to have